Welcome to the new Overlords Podcast, where we talk about video games, news, and what's fun. I'm Max, and with me, as always, is a partner in procrastination, which we'll talk about this week, my co-host, Sema. Hello there, Sema.
We really are partners in procrastination, aren't we?
Yes, I didn't prepare you for that. Oh, but we'll talk about when we get to the SWTOR segment in detail, but
Yeah.
with the update coming.
I know to what you refer to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we thought we were procrastinating, and at the last minute, we were finishing up a bit of content that was going to prepare us for the patch, which was finally coming the next day.
Yeah.
And it turned out it's actually not coming till the next patch. So we could have procrastinated it a whole other.
Yeah, till quote unquote spring, whenever that is.
Yes, exactly. Whenever spring is. The groundhog, the little lion bastard, told me it was coming early. The groundhog also said there's some good things in the news this week.
Good news, everyone.
First up in the news, I just wanted to do a shout out because it is my youngest daughter's birthday today.
Yay.
She is not so young anymore these days, but
Happy
she is
birthday.
down on a college spring break, her last spring break in her college years, down in Austin, Texas, having a great time, it sounds like. She keeps sending me pictures of dogs too, that are down there that she gets to meet up with. In addition to like the boat trips and the good food and the barbecue and that kind of thing. But these dogs, it was such a fun dogs. Golden retrievers just seem like such great dogs. That's the kind of dog I like. Just a standard dog. But I typed back to her, "You like dags?" I don't know if she gets that reference, but
It's really that's not what it's about.
But happy birthday, Jillian. So there we go. Also in the news is something that, so Kid Lee, who was a SWTOR streamer back in the day and still streams some SWTOR, but lots of other things right now, posted a thing. I caught him on Twitter, X, whatever. And he was doing a stream for Dragon's Dogma 2 character creator. So the character creator released this past week, I think, and it's now available. The full game releases on March 21st, but you can go, I think, on Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam, definitely on Steam, and you can get the character creator and you can mess around with it. And he did an hour and a half stream where he was just messing around in the character creator, and it was amazing, compelling. It's the most detailed standard character creator I have ever seen. And to such a degree that I was so impressed by what they've done with this that it makes me want to go potentially play Dragon's Dogma next week.
Yeah, I'm kind of impressed too, because normally when the character creator is super complex, it's kind of a turnoff for me. I know that's not the most popular position, but this one seems way more like a freedom thing rather than a a second job.
Right. The fact that it's released early, I think, is really nice.
Yeah.
Because if it was launch day, that's I also agree. It feels
true.
like a burden on launch day.
On launch day, because your headspace says, I want to play.
Right. Do I have this on double? I think I have this on double speed, don't I? No, it's on normal. So somebody's just going through quick. But yeah, it's crazy. So I recommend people go check it out. In fact, here I'll go through. This is the Extra Life, however you pronounce those guys. Do a pretty good gaming channel. They're showing off some of the community creation of characters people have created based on other IP. So here's Kratos,
like that. Yeah.
God of War. I've seen here's Lae'zel from Baldur's Gate, and it's as good as her fully rendered character in Baldur's Gate, practically. I mean, it's not exact, her ears can't go as long. So this is the question you were asking, is it how extreme can you make it? Can you make them can you make your type, type 11 body type? I don't think so. But
you're right, that character looks humanoid, but yes, not human.
Here, the Witcher, and it's as good as them in their original games.
Yeah.
Christian Bale, Pan Am from look at Pan Am from Cyberpunk. It looks just like her. Oh, jeez. Keanu Reeves. So it's amazing what's possible. Daenerys, Game of Thrones. And it also, so here you could see, you could get some weird ones. Let's see if he shows like you can get pretty weird. They're not showing. Look up somebody made like handsome Squidward. Look up that one. So you can get a little bit weird.
I mean, it's actually as a person doing it, it's like a creative endeavor too, because for something to look like Daenerys, you have to understand that part of it is that sort of the innocent look in her eyes. How do you achieve that? And yeah. I'm not sure if innocent is the right word, but she has that.
But yeah, so a million sliders, a million colors, a million everything. It's like here. So it's just on this.
They should have a way for players to sell these.
That's interesting. Make a character and
or
at least be able to export
them.
it and share it.
Yeah.
I wonder what like the data set is. And then back to your original point, I really like that they launched it ahead of time, because on launch day, for a lot of games, I just want to get into the game. I mean, it's launch day. You want to play the game, and I end up just like kind of really quick going through. The other alternative, which Skull and Bones did great with this, which was go ahead, create your character quick. Anytime you want, you can go and change your characters, all aspects, all characteristics of your character for free in the game. So that's a nice way to handle it as well. But yeah, so who knows? Maybe I'll play Dragon's Dogma. This was Kid Lee's stream. When he was
like we haven't even talked about what kind of a game it is, but we might play it.
Yeah, well, as I said, I was so impressed by with what they've done here that it makes me want to. And I knew, I was mildly interested in Dragon's Dogma anyway.
Well,
Dragon's Dogma 1 was highly rated.
Grant.
It's an RPG. It's with action combat. But yeah, so I may. I've boosted it higher on my list. So mission accomplished. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Let's see. Also on my list, a game that I've had my eye on for a while, and we've talked about in the past, is Vampire V Rising, not Vampire Survivors. Which is a different game and not a survival game, ironically. But Vampire Survivor or V Rising is going to launch finally. So it sounds like it's launching in May, and that is what has me very interested, because it was one of those things that got it in the back of my mind that had a lot of fun with it. I wanted to play more. They've added a bunch of content. I haven't had the trigger yet or the time yet to go back and revisit the game. And I definitely had on my list for when it hits 1.0, I'm going to want to get back into it and play it some more. Very fun game, well formed. It's got a few really good gimmicks around a survival building crafting game with really well formed combat, fun combat, that action combat with action builds. That makes me really like V Rising in this genre. So,
I mean, I can attest to that, because you were playing a lot of V Rising.
Yeah, we got to get you into it. You won't have to suck people's blood. We can.
Yes, I will, but I actually don't mean that the way it sounded, like you played a lot of it, but you were playing it for a long time. Is more what I meant. Like it was good for you for a long time.
Yeah, and because it had that really good balance of the crafting, being able to build a castle, and they've added a bunch to that. You can build multi-story castles in this thing, and then like the crafting things. The reason you're building the castle is important. The things that you're crafting inside of there, but then the combat also had a purpose too. So the builds were really fun, and it was like action combat builds with really fun abilities. But the way they used the mini bosses, then they had the 30 bosses in the game, and who knows, maybe there's more of those now, and they each kind of follow from each other, and each one of them that you kill, you unlock another ability or a crafting item or something else that goes into your castle. So it's progression by killing those bosses along the way. It gives you that
Something to do.
right. It gives you that path through the game that you're never running into a situation where you're just looking around going, okay, what do I do now? I built my house. What am I here for? What am I doing?
It'll be interesting to see how you like the crafting and building now, a year and a half later when you also played Enshrouded and Pal World and Ark.
Yep.
Yeah.
It will be interesting. And to compare and contrast against those systems. Well, from what I remember, it was pretty cool and good. And enough of a spin, like the daytime versus nighttime and running from shadow to shadow during the day. It was just a really good gimmick. And it made the night desirable. I've always had that debate in games. Don't give me nighttime just to make things wash out the color and make things look bad and make it a pain in the ass to play. In V Rising, you desire the night, and that's when it's even more fun to play. So it's well formed in a lot of aspects, and they're a studio that's been around for a while, and they took their combat model from other games. They had like a little Rumble style game, or like a little arcadey Rumble fighting game that was very cool. They were able to take that and put that into this new game, so they had some IP and some development and arcade or action RPG chops to build on, which makes sense that it would be good out of that. Speaking of Enshrouded's got a little bit of news and roadmap kind of stuff out there. I don't know if you saw this, but it sounds like they're definitely adding more things, and they've got like what it sounds like is a loose roadmap that they've talked about, where here's the things that we're going to be definitely adding in 2024. One of the things that is not on the list for 2024, though, is release. So it doesn't sound like they'll actually even be releasing in 2024, but the fact that they're going to be adding more zones, adding more biomes, adding more content to the game in an already well-formed, relatively complete game from my perspective. I mean, there were areas that were blocked off that it was obvious that we were going to be expanding into those areas, but this is going to come out as one of the top of 2024, 2025, one of the top survival games. I'm thinking top 5, top 10, probably top 5, and if not one of the top couple. Got some really interesting ones coming out, like the Dune one, for example. We'll see where that falls, but they've done such a great job in this that I'm impressed, and I can't wait to see what they're going to add. And I'll be back into this one as well. Tiny bit of news that we'll just mention, but because I haven't played RimWorld, but RimWorld has another expansion. So they've had like little expansions in the past, but this is like a big 1.5 update for the game and an expansion coming. They haven't announced the date exactly, but it's expected in April from some background sources or rumors or whatever. But I know a couple people, including Corley, who like this game or seem to like it. I guess we need to confirm with Corley if he actually likes it. I think he plays it quite a bit, though. It's a well-liked game by a lot of people. It's like a colony builder, a lot of it's top-down colony builder, a little bit of sprite-based graphics, but a pretty in-depth system from what it sounds like that makes it sound interesting. In fact, it's the kind of game that I was thinking maybe I'll download it onto my Steam Deck and play it on the plane next week before I go to PAX or on my way to PAX, because I always want to have something that I want to have a couple things ready to go. And this is the kind of thing that seems to me would work really well on the Steam Deck. Well, we got this is like the trailing end of the 2024 stuff for Game Awards. Nothing much to talk about here because it's all the same stuff. But the BAFTA Awards have been announced, and the nominees have been announced, haven't they, Sema?
Yeah. And we like we were talking about before, it's automatically elevated because it's British.
Yes.
And if you go, you have to wear like a bowler hat
Yes. You have to
and
say
drink
things like governor,
and drink tea.
as I always do. And you have to say, hello, all chaps. After we vote on these video games, we're gonna go down to the pub on the corner. I think it's called the Clench and Bubble, and we're gonna get a little bit of what did you say we're gonna order up, Sema?
Nope, not saying that.
I think Sema wanted a spot of the spotted dick, a bit of that spotted dick there.
Yes, the notorious British
Yes.
dessert.
Yes, that is, which is quite good. It's like a cakey pudding.
Is it? I
kind of thing.
literally don't know what it is. It does have spots. I know that.
Yeah, well, I think it's like raisins or something.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like a bready, cakey pudding, bread pudding thing, but not like in a dish. It's like bigger, so it's like a coffee can sized.
So my
From what
idea
I
of the
remember, I don't know, maybe
being
it's just the
something
one I
like
had.
chia seeds is just like inaccurate.
Chia seeds? No, like I think it's raisins are the spots. Nothing too much of a surprise popped out to me on this list. It was all sort of the same old, all the good stuff from 2024. But yeah, I appreciate BAFTA in general because it is a British Academy, and it is motion picture, television, and video game awards. But because it's an academy, because it's people in the industry, I tend to think that, and yes, these are still gameable and they're still in somewhat popularity contests, but I tend to put a little bit higher weight on that kind of award than just like a popular choice kind of award. So we'll see what comes out of the BAFTA awards when they get awarded, but I don't think there's going to be very many surprises. I didn't see much on here. I thought it was interesting that they've got the British game category.
Yeah.
And there was stuff in here that I had never heard of, which then is something we should look up. I mean,
Yeah.
Dead Island is on Dead Island too.
And
is on here. That's a big one.
This was not in the British category, but Stray Gods, the role-playing musical, I hadn't heard of.
Debut game, Stray Gods, the role-playing musical. Good point. Dave the Diver, Cocoon, Dredge, those are all some debut games. So yeah, cool. BAFTA. Also in the coming soon category, which I have been talking about for a while and I'm excited about, on March 21st, the second day of the first day of PAX, the second day I'll be there. So I probably won't play it until I get back the following week. Horizon Forbidden West is finally coming to PC. So I'll be fine to wait. It's not like a big debut or launch. People have been playing this for half a year now, at least on PlayStation. But I really like the Horizon series. I'd never expected to like it as much as I did. But when I started playing the first one, over a little bit, like over a year ago, I was amazed at how much I like it. Both the characters and what's her name?
Voice actor?
Avast. What's the main character's name? The girl. Betty. Yes. So Betty, she's a great character, and Alloy. Yeah, Alloy. Avast. See, Avast was close.
Very.
Was closer. Alloy I thought was a great character. And then robot dinosaurs. That's really what sold me. You get to like tame and ride the robot dinosaurs around too. Alloy had this staff and you like stick it into him and hack the robot dinosaur, and then you can like ride around on it. Cool. And yes, as I mentioned, PAX East is next week. It is a 4-day conference, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Boston. I will be there. Corley, who's been on the show before, will be there. We'll be hanging out quite a bit. And then Marcus and his crew from the Bad Feelings podcast will be there. Intisar will be there. And then a few other people. Kat Plays is a streamer who does a lot of SWTOR streaming. She's going to be there. Sounds like a few other people from the SWTOR community are going to be there as well, including Jackie. I was hesitating to say Jackie, but it sounds like she is going to be there, and she has been in our chat room live on the show talking about it. So I feel like I can say. She was hoping to be there too, just on vacation. So we're hoping to hopefully get a chance to say hi to her as well. The community manager for Star Wars: The Old Republic, Jackie. But yeah, hoping to see all of those people, have some fun meeting up. We're definitely going to do a meetup and grab some food and some drinks and whatever. But then I always like to see the new games, and I know there are going to be some of the indie devs that I've met at past PAXs that I'm going to be excited to catch up with. There was one we did on a couple of our roundups for PAX East in the past. Morgan, who is one of the leads for the Hyde's Haunt and Seek Haunted Mansion game. It looks like I got a publisher note, and they were listed as a debut for that publisher. So it looks like they got picked up by a publisher, which is great for them. I want to go catch up with them, catch up with Chris, who's the company lead and main director for the 30XX games. So I'm hoping to see a bunch of those indie devs out there, which is always great too. So 2 weeks from today, we'll do a wrap-up show and talk about maybe some of the fun things we saw out there at PAX, as we tend to do. I'm probably not going to do a show floor video this year. I'm mostly going to be focused on because there's going to be a bunch more people hanging out, and I got some stuff I need to talk to the devs about, fun game stuff. So we'll do some of that, and instead we'll just still do our wrap-up show and do some highlights on some fun things we saw. I'm trying to make a list, and if anybody knows of any RPGs or survival games or that kind of stuff, especially that's going to be out there, any fun game in general, but especially those, I think there will be a couple survival games, like indie survival games, to check out. Give me a heads up, because I'm going to want to take a look. All right. That's it for the news. As always, thanks to everybody out there. We know there's a ton of good content out there these days. We're starting to talk about other podcasts, like those hilarious Viva La Dirt League guys and whatnot. We know you've got plenty of places to be spending your time. We really appreciate you spending your time with us when you can. If you need any of the subscribe links or for audio or video, they're all on newoverlords.com. Special thanks to everybody that hangs out with us live here on Twitch or in our Discord, where we talk about fun stuff pretty much all day, every day, pretty much. And don't forget, if you're looking for a big family-friendly gaming community, you can check out Alea Iacta Est, AIE, our AIE guild. That's where Sema and I have had our MMO game groups and guilds and teams for many, many years. It's great. AIE-guild.org for the AIE Discord, and we'll connect with you there as well.
It's a fun place to hang out while you play games, even if you don't play games with people.
Yes, just come join the Discord and say hi. SWTOR on Starforge and Shay Vizsla, all out of AIE. You can get an invite and come play with us, or just hang out and chat. All right, Sema, what's on the menu?
It looks like meat's back on our menu, boy. No way. God, finally. I kind of like the magical bread.
We got SWTOR to talk about this week.
Yes, we do.
I am so pleased. So have you spent much time? I know
Oh my
you spent
gosh.
a little bit of time.
I already dove into Galactic Season 6 in a major way. Like, I finished it on
you?
Shay Vizsla,
Did
and
you-
I'm almost done with it on Starforge.
7 objectives?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
that's a little crazy.
it is a little crazy. And I went into it thinking, oh, I'm never going to get 20 of those things. The
Blueprints?
blueprints, right? And of course I got 20, right away.
Now, how many do you have on Starforge?
I still have like 17 or 18 on Starforge.
Okay, so you got a couple more.
But I
to
have
go
I
with.
have one more task to complete on Starforge.
Okay.
I actually no, backing up. I don't actually have 7 done on Shea Vizsla. I have 5 done. But on Friday night we're gonna knock out the
Oh,
last 2. So I
right.
guess
You
that's
gotta-
I have it in my mind that Shea Vizsla is taking care of Galactic Season 6. So those are 2 group ones that we're gonna try and do. We might be challenging because we're a small group, and it's the one of them is the no. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll work.
We got this.
We got this. So it was really interesting because I forgot how much I enjoy having these little tasks to go out and do. So like in Shea Vizsla, I was getting ready to well even on Starforge, we went and did 2 we killed the 2 named guys on Quesh, and for that, well, I'll just call it achievement for now. Anyway, for that target, there's 2 more that you have to kill on the other faction. I don't even need to go back and do those other 2 because I'm already gonna be already gonna be to 7
Wow.
on Starforge. 7 being the max that you can do
In a
in
week. Right. Out of the 10 that they give you or 11 that they give you to do. You have to
And it
do
didn't
up to 7.
it didn't strike me at first, but there's no rep this time around, so there's no rep worry, like
Oh,
getting
that's going to be interesting. The
Yeah.
grind at the end, although we're probably still going to have to do like 100 objectives. So there's going to be
right,
that
but we
part.
don't have we don't have to at the end of the week go, okay, I'm
did
gonna
I
get
click my things? Did I? Oh, that's a good
I want to
point.
get close to 5,000 so then I can click a big one and get the most over 5,000 for this week that I can. I don't all of that part isn't going to be
Right.
there. So that'll be like that'll be different. So
Right. That's interesting. So you've probably unlocked. So we'll go through all the things in this. So it's a 7.4.1 update, and the season is one of the things. And yeah, I got like half of it done on Tuesday. I did a couple things early. We'd had our game night on Tuesday night. I did some stuff. It's a good kind of season function in any MMO. They do it well. They're a little bit of a twist, as you said. This time they're changing it up a little bit. There isn't a reputation that we need to grind out. What they've done in the previous seasons is they give you companion, and that's sort of a focal point of maybe the little bit of story which ties the season together. And then you're getting like gear for that companion, gear sets that you can wear too. Those are some of the rewards. What did they give us this time, Sema, instead of a companion?
a stronghold.
And
And
did you
it's a
check it out?
very so yes and no. What I did to check it out was specifically to find out how you get conquest credit for unlocking it, because conquest credit, there is a conquest target called Move-In Day that you can get for acquiring a new stronghold, and I didn't know if this would work for that since it's acquired in a different way.
Yeah.
And so we had to put this all together last night after MFN. So Lucy had
Guys.
what?
Did you figure it out?
Yeah.
I mean, like the time and effort, you probably could have like done one flashpoint and gotten like 3 times the conquest points, but
I mean, have you met us?
Science the hell out of it. So yeah,
Yeah,
how
so
did it work?
So what Lucy had gotten credit for doing it, but several other people had not gotten credit for doing it. So I started logging in characters of all different levels, and really you have to be in the level range on your character of 10 to 49 to get credit for unlocking a stronghold, a complete, the initial unlock of a stronghold. So I have unlocked it on Shea Vizsla because I have a character between 10 and 49 over there, and so I have unlocked it, but I haven't like wandered around and gazed at it yet.
Yeah. Well, it's actually, you only get like you only get half of it so far, and then as you progress through the season, you get to unlock more of it. So you haven't missed a whole bunch yet.
Yeah,
but yeah.
technically, yeah, you get the initial unlock on level 1, and then there's more unlocks that you can get through working through the galactic season, and then the last 3 I think you can buy.
Right. And I think there's one. I thought there was going to be. There was some expectation that you were going to have to pay cartel coins only to be unlocking some of the rooms. But one of the rooms I already saw you could just unlock for credits. It's the one under the waterfall. It's like a garage door. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not yeah.
so we're going to have to see there. I thought one of the rooms might be cartel coins only. But anybody who's a subscriber gets free cartel coins.
Yeah, I was
every
just
week,
gonna
and you
say.
get a bunch during the season as well as a reward. You
Right.
can just use those.
You get enough during the season, I bet, to unlock. Yeah, if you have to use cartel coins.
It's a nice cliffside, beachside, Copero. Copero's the planet where the chists come from. It's a pretty cool looking stronghold, and it's got the Copero chist architecture for the building itself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an NPC in the stronghold. I don't know what their purpose yet serves, but they're part of it.
Yeah, they give you the story quests, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So they've got something going on there. But I thought that was a clever, instead of just a companion again, having a stronghold, which is a pretty big reward, and getting it like day one as part of the season and making that the focal point of going forward through the season. I thought that was a clever twist this time. So I'm looking forward to marching through that, having that as an objective to do. Man, I don't know what to do about Shea Vizsla. I still don't know what to do. So also with 7.4.1, server transfers to Shea Vizsla, which is for people that aren't familiar, Broadsword added an Asia Pacific, Australia-based server, still cloud-based, running AWS, but out of the Australia data centers. So people down in that part of the world can have lower ping times, but it was also started as a fresh start for a lot of people. And it's still high enough performance that anyone in the US can play there really reliably and just fine. In fact, unless you're doing really high-end PvP, you're not even going to notice that it's not in your backyard. Server transfers came with 7.4.1 also. So I may be able to transfer a character now, and I waffle. I go back and forth between three zones of thought. One is transfer a character. So I've got one over there. So the things like what you guys are doing on Friday, maybe I could jump in and do some stuff. Two, I have a couple characters rolled. They're low level right now, but level up those characters because that's a fun thing to do on a server. And three, stay far away.
And don't get sucked in.
Don't get sucked in because I've got a million other things that are going on, and you'll hear about some of the things I've been playing this past week. And like I gotta play Horizon Forbidden West. I gotta play the V Rising. I gotta we'll
Here's what I suggest you do.
I think I need to avoid. I think I need to
No. That because that won't work. I think what you need to do is transfer over a character, then you'll be able to avoid it. It will end the dialogue, the inner dialogue, because you will have taken action. Then you can tell yourself, if I do find myself on a Friday night with nothing to do, I can do. And we only do that one Friday night a month anyway.
True.
And you can do it for free. You have enough characters on.
And they're letting people do it for free, which is a really nice thing.
And yeah, it seems like a plus for you to just do it.
Yeah. I do this periodically. I see Lucy in the chat room saying, come over and do things. I could still jump in voice and hang out while you guys do things.
Yeah.
I'm not in there, and I've done that. Plenty of those Fridays. But yeah, it is that maybe that's the path, but then it doesn't really shortcut. I could still start a character at level 1 and roll it up, but then I've got like the whole legacy there, and that is part of the fun, but I don't see myself doing that. I can't start from scratch and do a whole thing. I'm not Keith Koenig.
No, I totally
or you. I'm not you. in being able to do that. What else did we get with 7.4.1?
So I guess you mean date night, right?
Yes.
So I feel like this is an interesting feature that's fraught with many possible good things for the game, but it's I won't be able to play it because I haven't, for one, I haven't romanced any of those 4 characters, and that is a
Yes.
requirement.
So why don't you give us the background on it for people that aren't familiar with Star Wars,
Oh,
who these characters are? And
yeah. So, and I'll just start by saying what Date Night is like a little cinematic that you can revisit whoever your romantic, not whoever, of these 4, have like a romantic get together with them.
date. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a date. And it's not, so like each one of them, they each one have their own personality. They're different like little mini stories. And like Lana Beniko, who's a companion that's been with you since the second new X-Pax, the Shadow of Revan. And she's like her main thing, or to me anyway, Lana's main thing is she is like fiercely loyal. She's super smart, but she's always got your back.
Yep.
Theron Shan is another one. He's basically a secret agent. So my picture of Theron Shan is he also always has your back, but he does it in his own way, and it's not always evident.
Yep. And he comes from the Republic side, and Lana comes from the Imperial side. They're both like on your side now, and it's almost like no longer part of the Empire or the Republic. But that's sort of like the angle that they came from. He was an SIS agent in the Republic. She's a Sith Lord. I mean, still is. But they're their own people.
Yeah.
Good characters, but they came like later in the series. But they ended up as not as original, but they ended up as romance options. So they had like a romance story way before this that you could get into with them.
Yes. And then the third one is Arkan, who was like one of the main bad guys of the a long series of story.
Yeah, two full expansions.
Yeah.
Knights of the Fallen Empire and Knights of the Eternal Throne.
And his way of flirting is that he wants to spar with you. So his way of flirting is a fight. And I get that. I kind of get the Arkan, the appeal kind of thing. Is sort of like a Mr. Rochester kind of character from Jane Eyre, where it's like the strong, silent, whatever. So you can make up what's going on in his mind because, yeah, I get that. But I've never. I always thought, do I really even want him on my team? Never mind the other thing.
Which is, well, I'm. Spoiler, obviously, but this is like old spoilers. For a lot of people, he's dead. I mean, people have killed him because he was the bad guy, and you defeat him in a fight, and then basically, as that fight is wrapping up, you end up with a choice of being able to kill him or not kill him, and then if you don't kill him, down the road, you have a choice of, I think, maybe even killing another choice to kill him. Or a choice to say, okay, I'll give you a chance. Fine. You want to redeem yourself? You want to become part of my alliance, part of my team? I'll give you that opportunity. I went that route. I always liked him as a character.
Yeah.
I always also
I like the whole second chance thing anyway.
I felt like he was put in a position he was railroaded into being the bad guy by his father, who was also the Emperor Vitiate, and like
and like
bad of the bad, and
who can stand against him, really? I mean, other than us, obviously.
Right. So I always felt like he was worthy of being redeemed, because he was pushed into it by his father his entire life, and ultimately ends up breaking against that. And part of the reason he's fighting against us and is the bad guy in those 2 expansions is because the Emperor has taken us over and actually is riding along inside our minds. So he's like fighting against the Emperor, which we're also fighting against. You get to a point, in fact, you get to do a chapter. Well, I should stop because if you haven't played all the way through it, one of the conquest objectives for this week is to play through one of the chapters, and it's the final chapter of the first expansion, Knights of the Fallen Empire, and you get some of these story beats if you play through that again. You have to play through it on vet mode, which is kind of hard, and you have to fight Arkan, which is a difficult fight, but you get some of these story beats and some of these narrative points which are interesting and complex and good and well written. I don't know why people ever thought that those weren't good stories.
And it's also
They are.
probably worth
They're good.
mentioning that even if you have a romance status, you know, which is a check in the database, right, with one of these characters, if they're not current in where you are in the story, you can't romance them until they come back. Because there's a point where Theron leaves and goes on his own for a while, and if you haven't yet defeated Archon and have him on your team, I don't think you can romance. You can't do this until you're
until you're done with Fallen Emperor and Eternal Throne and brought him back to the team and given him a chance and then answered the right questions in the dialogue options to start up a romance with him.
Yeah, so it's all very contextual, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Koth, who is a bold choice, Cotton.
Yeah.
Because Koth is one of those characters that has a lot of player hate in his direction. I think the only companion that maybe has more is Quinn.
Right.
So a lot of people don't have Koth anymore because they killed him off, which is
right. And he was a rebel pilot from Zakul, the society and planet that Vitiate the Empire was suppressing and Arkan was the emperor of when he was fighting back. You pick him up and he becomes part of your alliance, and he's a relatively good guy. I never had a problem with him, but he's like, you know, fight against the Empire, fight against Arkan, fight against the Emperor, no matter what. And as a result is like not always on your side, because at some points there are shades of gray and things that you need to get done. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, what the hell are you doing? We need to take this down. We need to blow this up. We need to kill the Emperor. I disagree with you. So he kind of like fights against, and that's where, you know.
And at one point he takes off with the Gravestone, which is the only ship that can fight against the Eternal Fleet. So I think that a lot of people took that personally.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they did. It's like one of your biggest military assets. And they're like, yeah.
He's like, but I brought it back.
Yeah. And he did.
So these are very short vignettes.
Yes.
Which my take on that is kind of, I think, well, maybe that's good because that gives them more of a chance of bringing more and more companions back for their 15 minutes of fame. And it's not 15 minutes. They're 3 minutes of fame. As opposed to early days of Kotet when we lost all of our companions and it took years to get them back.
Right. It might make it easier. So there's
I don't know. It's still going to be costly, like you said.
Right. We were doing the math on this. So there's 4 of these date nights now. So it's each of these 4 characters. So it's not your original companions. It's not the other characters. And there's tons of other characters that you could have romanced, they'd be in relationships with. Every base class has at least one, if not a couple, romance options that are part of them. So you could have Mako or Vet or not Gus Tuno. I don't think he's a romance option. Whoever the case may be. You can have all of these other romances that your character might be part of. So what they've said is maybe we're going to do it for those too, but there's 4 of these date nights right now. They are quite a bit shorter than I had expected. They're only about 3 to 5 minutes each. But you can play through them multiple times, and there's multiple dialogue options, and they're fully voiced. And as you play through them multiple times, you can take that date night in a slightly different direction. And it's not like you break up with someone. I don't think it goes to that degree, but I think it's like, you know, you can be more playful or more serious. You can be more, you know, you like the Arkan one, you know, mild spoiler here. Skip ahead 15 seconds, but you can be aggressive in the fight, or you can, you know, play with it and have fun during the fight kind of thing. But yeah, they were much shorter than I thought, for one, which I think has positives and negatives, and the positives being that they can actually do more of these. But the other mild problem I have with them, as you said, is of my 40 characters, I thought I had at least one that I had done the romance with Lana, but apparently not. And of my 40 characters, I have none that are in relationships with any of these 4. So I can't participate in this content within the game. So I watched 3 of them at least, or 2 of them. I watched 2 of them in their videos form off of YouTube, but I can't do any of them, which is a little bit of a downside. The upside, as you alluded to in them being short, is we were starting to do the math on what it takes to even do the 4 that they did so far. And I think our math came out to 60 voice actors.
Because they're completely voice acted. Yeah.
Right.
Your
of
character
the player
too.
character plus the 4 characters of the, of that you're having the dates with. And there were 8 original base classes and male and female versions. So 16 of those, 3 languages. So that makes 48 plus the 4 of these. So 20 total in each language. So 60 because they do them in 3 languages. That's crazy. That's crazy and crazy expensive. So I can see them not being able to be very long, for one. For 2, hopefully they're doing in an efficient way. Somebody said the audio sounded like Lana's voice sounds a little bit different. Is it a different voice actor? Sounded like the exact same voice actor to me, but the audio did sound a little different. I wonder if they're able to do some of them remote and not like have to fly them into a studio, which would be super expensive. Because again, 60 voice actors. Crazy.
I hope they're able to do them remotely, but voice actors might have varying degrees of quality in their home studios too.
Yep. I did think of the content that I saw. So my summary assessment on that was they're cute and fun, and I'm glad that they're doing it for 2 reasons. One is it's a kind of content that a lot of people, if you look at like social networking and in the forums, are liking how they came out, and we're really anticipating. Again, probably shorter than a lot of people had wanted, but still good stuff, and you can replay them. You can play them different ways.
But people have been begging for more companion content since the beginning of Coffee.
Yeah, right, or since the
Well, I
beginning
mean,
of time.
the end of Corellia, really, right?
Right.
When the original, the OG stories completed.
Right. The other thing is, and we saw this in the dev stream, the development team and Ashley and Caitlin in particular seem to be having a ton of fun developing this stuff and writing it and putting it together. And I'm here to support that.
Me too. Me too. Because I mean, what other reason really is there to do something that consumes your whole life, really?
Right. So if they want to do this, if they need to do this, if this is part of something that they wanted to get done as part of their freedom to go off and make this game, it's obvious there are a lot of people that are 100%, 1,000% on board. That's great. That's cool.
After all, we do this podcast and we're the only ones that are excited about this.
Right.
Totally worth it for us.
There's that. Exactly. And we're doing it how we want. Do what I want. Jeez.
You're not the boss of me.
So, but they have tons of fans of these things, and as they're hoping to do more for all of the companions, and so maybe I'll get one for whatever. Ilara Dorn, I know I've got Ilara Dorn, and I think, so this is the one that confused me. I have had Mako. I kind of like skip the romances on most of my characters. I know I have Ilara Dorn on my Vanguard, my trooper, because she was always very cool and just seemed like a cool person. And I know I had Mako 10 years ago, but when my bounty hunter got frozen in carbonite and blasted across the world and lost touch with everybody, Mako came back and is sitting in the alerts, the Alliance alerts, to go talk to Mako, and my bounty hunter never went back and talked to her. And I left that in an indeterminate state, which I kind of feel a little bit bad about. So that's the one I thought maybe I had done. The Lana.
I think you should feel bad about that.
Well, I kind of like, I just paused it. So I didn't not do it. It's in his Schrodinger state. It's right there.
Well, I mean, I say that, but I haven't checked in on Lieutenant Arreso or Vector.
Yeah. I didn't like pick up the phone and say, either way, I didn't like dump her. It's right there. It's
Ghosting her though.
the phone is still ringing.
Okay. Eflux says Mako deserves better.
I didn't. It's there. It's at that Schrodinger state of on the cusp of because they do put you in the position of you were gone. You don't know where they are. They don't know where you are. You eventually get the opportunity to catch back up. So I'm right now at that point where I've finally gotten this opportunity to come back. I did the Mako relationship because it was there and it was one of my original characters, and it's a significant part of the content, especially of the original character stories. But Mako's a kid. I was
gonna say she's too young.
I didn't really feel all that great about that relationship to begin with. So I had to like role play my bounty hunter as not me, as like some 30-year-old dude, because Mako's like 20. So he had to be like 26 or 27 for me to feel okay about that. And definitely not me, because yeah.
I just
Mako's not
played
my type.
the Hutta part of the bounty hunter story last, I think, Monday night, because I wanted to get my bounty hunter on Shea Vizsla up to level 10 so I could do conquest on her, and participate in Galactic Seasons maybe. Didn't have to though. But so I just played through that beginning with Mako, and first of all, it's heartbreaking. That stupid story on Hutta. I hate that. I was almost going to spacebar through it just so I didn't have to. And what I'm referring to is there's, Mako, all her friends get killed on Hutta. She comes back and they're all dead. Like, I hate this
Her whole
story.
squad. Yeah. I mean, she comes in with a squad of her team. And, she's like 30 plus now. Yeah, but.
Well, because time has passed, he's saying.
Mako. Yeah. I mean, Lucy's saying, yeah, that's because as I describe myself, I'm that old guy who does that podcast and streams once in a while. And that's why I've taken my face off of the streams lately, because I'm just too old to stream. Yeah, I'm just too old for Mako. Yeah, she's like 30 now. Still, 30s is not in my target age range. I can headcanon like Lana as being like mid 40s.
Lana has had a whole life.
Yeah, she's like a grown up,
and so has Alora Dorn.
Yeah,
she's had a whole life already.
Yeah, she was like in the military. She was.
Mako is still running around, with father figures.
Yeah, Mako's a kid. She's just a kid. All right. Anyway,
plus romance, General Garza.
Yes, she's
had a life.
There's someone who's got, I'd have something in common with. Some things to talk about. She had a whole career. I mean, yeah.
Cannot think of anything appropriate to say about that.
And she's got quite a big career behind her. She's got a lot of experience. Yes, exactly. All right. I'm like blushing. All right.
I'm not clever enough to make any comment about that, but you did well.
Also, just to wrap up our patch notes and what we saw in the expand or the 7.4.1, a couple other things. Minor thing was like the Galactic Trade Network is we now get like a toy, an unlock, a legacy unlock where we can pop out a GTN droid anywhere, anytime. We can get to the GTN. They've got a couple of these droid legacy unlocks. One that acts as a repair droid for you. One that acts as like a little vendor we could sell things from and buy a little of like the low level med packs and things like that. Having one that acts as the GTN, where they've got one for like legacy storage, they've got one for mail. This is a nice little quality of life thing, especially for people that use the GTN quite often. I never had a problem with making the GTN decorations that we can put in our strongholds, the base of operations for everything I need to do for the GTN. But this is probably still going to be useful for some
Yeah,
people.
I'm definitely going to buy this because I feel like the GTN is already pretty convenient for me on Starforge because I have it, like you said, in my stronghold. But it might be one of those things like mounting while running that didn't seem like it was going to be much, but
Yeah.
it
Now that you
absolutely
mention that,
was.
being in an operation, being able to pop one out because I need an MK11 augment kit real quick.
Ooh, there's a good example.
That. Or, hey, I forgot stims. I'm out of stims. I'm just going to buy one real quick.
Yeah.
These are good ideas that you just had, Sema. I do
So-
remember I had a little, I think it was like a little pet in World of Warcraft that would act as the GTN, as the auction house at some point. And that became really useful once in a while. And I really liked having that. And it was much
And I
more
like-
limited than what we're going to be able to do here.
I liked how in Guild Wars 2, I think you had to go to town to post things, but you could, if anything sold, you could get the money from anywhere, which I thought was
Yes.
pretty convenient.
Or vice versa. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something
one
like
of
that.
those
It
two.
might
One
have
of
been the other way around.
One
yeah.
of them you could do from the field, which quality of life, it's great. And then the final thing, which you and I talked about a little bit, and we're debating a little bit on how useful or unuseful this might be, is the ancient armaments. So what they said was, and there's a couple write-ups if you want to look at the dev notes and look into this a little bit more. There's a whole bunch of old gear in the game, and it's a bunch of old gear that you could like only get while you're leveling up. You could only get during the story at certain points, and it amounts to something like 2,000 pieces of gear. But a lot of people have asked for that to come back, or different ones, or usually it was like specific ones. I'd really like this thing because it would really make an outfit work for me. What they've done is they've added that now as drops, and it's supposed to be a little bit more rare than it is right now this week, and they're going to patch that. It's supposed to be like a rare drop of those coming up, and as boxes coming up as daily login rewards. And when it comes up as a daily login reward box that you'll get a complete gear set. I think these are really cool in a couple directions. And Sema, you think this is like the worst thing?
I'm
you go
just
first, and then I will explain why you're wrong.
I'm just kind of overwhelmed by this whole idea because
It is overwhelming. Yeah.
they said like you said, there's 2,000 of them out there, and I appreciate for sure putting more stuff on the loot table, more things that you can find out in the world. However, there's no real way that you can collect these. They don't go into collections. You just would have to store them somewhere, and storage space is already at a premium. Plus, you can't search for anything once you do store it. So, and also there's no way for me to know that I even want one of these, right? So I can't go looking for it anyway. I can see as it matures, maybe, and if it gets to a point where we can depend on every one of these 2,000 being on the GTN at any time, which is, where you buy things, maybe you can go to the GTN and shop through them using Control V, which shows them on your character. And then it might be a great addition to the game. But right now I'm just thinking stuff that I don't even store, and I can't find it. I don't have room to store it. I can't find it after I store it.
Yeah. If you'd be coming at it from the point of, this is something for me to collect, I think you're right. It's both overwhelming and not well designed around that. There's 2,000 of them. The one you want will never drop for you. You can't farm individual pieces, and there's no way you could store all of them if you're trying to just get a bunch of them. The part of it, the perspective that I kind of like, though, is, yes, these are cosmetic items. Anything interesting dropping while I'm just like out in the world questing, and we saw them dropping this week. Probably a little bit too much, but we played for 2 hours, and I got 4 of them in one night. Probably shouldn't be that many,
Right.
but stuff dropping that's mildly interesting rather than just always being vendor trash or 5 credits. I thought that was cool. And then, as you said, and then it becomes, but definitely much more interesting if we get to 2 points. One is if we get enough of them that they start to proliferate on the GTN, and you can start looking for specific pieces and previewing them on your character and finding stuff that you want for a cosmetic outfit. And 2, a lot of these exist right now in meta text and like other websites like SWTOR Fashion and that kind of thing. If that also then becomes a little bit more, either gets updated with anything that is now available that wasn't before, and you can use those websites to maybe find some specific pieces for an outfit you're designing or like a cosplay that you're trying to make, and then go to the GTN and like hunt for the piece to fill in what you're looking for. Then it also comes together as
or even if you
addition to the game. That's nice.
You just see someone in the game and you go, I wonder what boots those are. You can look at them and then go check the G. So it's overall positive that they're reviving. They should reuse assets. They should not let old assets go out of the game. So I applaud that part of it. I already said what I feel overwhelmed about.
Yeah. And as eFlex is saying, you can't vendor them. You can't deconstruct them from materials because they're just supposed to be a cosmetic thing. As it stands right now, they are also broken and you can't put them on the GTN, but you're supposed to be able to do that. And they'll be fixing that in one of the quick hot fixes in the next couple weeks, week or two, that they're going to put out.
So Bach in our chat just said we need transmog, which is the WoW system for how to make your armor look. We do have that. We have Outfitter, which is like way better than transmog.
Yeah.
Way more flexible.
Yep.
Yeah, and you don't have to. The way transmog works is you have to apply the appearance to the gear. So if you upgrade your gear, then you have to retransmog, which we don't have to do here with Outfitter. It's just the storing them and finding them again.
Yeah, I've got like 15 outfits for my main character just because they're so easy to you create a tab, you drop the pieces in an outfit, like outfit slots, and apply it to your character and switch back and forth between any of them at any point in time.
Yeah, like his point is that transmog does have that. So transmog stores the pieces like materials are stored in Star Wars: The Old Republic. So it is convenient in that way. Like you don't, and you can search for them by name. And if they put these pieces in a page like that, like how the materials work, then we would, I predict, be able to search them. And or if they just went into collections in general, if they went into collections, that would be a big help.
Then you would have collections for anything that came out of the cartel market or any of the the important sets. So we do have that a little bit, but not for these pieces.
The things you get from the boxes that drop from heroics, those go into collections. So it would be nice if these sets would go into collections, because then you would not have to keep the physical piece and store it and search for it. And collections does have a search.
Right.
So that would fix it for me.
Final point on Star Wars: The Old Republic. Our procrastination. This is the video of me the night before the patch was going to drop, going off and finishing the little.
Because I made him feel bad because I did it the night before.
Yeah, she did it on the penultimate night. I did it on the ultimate night, the night before. She did it on the eve. I did it on the eve. It's a side story of a Mandalorian that we met in some of the previous content who found a broken version of a basilisk droid, which is this really cool war droid that the Mandalorians would ride into battle. There's some SWTOR and Star Wars lore around it that you can look up. You can even look on Wikipedia. She's been doing some work on the side, and it's been an ongoing little mini story of trying to figure out how she could repair this thing and asking you to be helping her out. There was leading into what's actually coming in 7.5, not in 7.4.1 that we got wrong. She had a series of things that she needed you to do to go talk to this guy, the Collector. And yes, it's a play on the Collector from Marvel.
It's a curator.
Oh, curator. Like the Collector from Marvel, the Curator. In fact, I think I've got it in here. When I went and visited him, he's got a Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, did he?
What kind of looks like an Infinity. It's just a robot. It's a gold robot arm on a shelf. But to me, it looked like the Infinity. Here I am looking at some of his collection as I walked in. Like there on the shelf. That looked to me like the Infinity Gauntlet. It's just a robot arm, a gold robot arm. But
yeah, I get that.
It's definitely the collector. It's Infinity Gauntlet. He's got a couple of these decorations around. But his whole deal is he's a droid collector. So he might have information on how to fix a basilisk droid. So you got to like go and get this thing that you're going to give to him so that he'll like give you information and, whatever things happen. He makes you then go do some stuff. You go hunt down this other droid, which is actually a different version of an HK droid, which specialized in destroying basilisk droids, and you get its memory core. Anyway, we thought we had to get done with this because we thought Lane Vizsla was coming back in 7.4.1. We thought we were doing it. We procrastinated until the last possible moment, or the second to last possible moment. In Sema's case, I got to fight these 3 astromechs. I was amused by that. But we could have procrastinated harder. It was our summary. We didn't actually need to get done. On Monday night and Sunday and Monday night, because it's not coming just till 7.5, which is in the spring time frame. So we've got another month or two, at most. But now we're ready, and we'll be able to get to the concluding chapter on what happens with Lane Vizsla. Which will be coming then on 7.5. So they said that that whole thing is going to wrap up. So whatever, we're probably going to get a little present then from Lane. And the speculation is it's either going to be like a companion version of a basilisk droid, a mount, or a pet. And I think it's got to be one of those 3.
I think it's going to be, before I was saying I thought it was going to be a pet, and you were saying you thought it was going to be a companion. I think it's going to be a companion.
Mm.
I hope it's a pet. I kind of hope it's a pet because I don't need another. I have 100 companions. Well, I have 100 pets too, but you can always use another pet. But maybe we'll get both. Why not?
There is, or as Eflux says, maybe all 3.
Or all 3, yeah.
There already is a basilisk droid mount in the game. It was a cartel market item, and you can still get it. In fact, you can go buy it off the cartel market right now. So I doubt it's going to be a mount. It seemed too big to me to be a pet. It would have to really be miniaturized to become a pet and fit in their pet models. And there is there's already a droid class of companions with special influence, rank items that you give to the droid companions. I think it fits really well as a droid companion. That's my guess. But it's still, they could shrink it down and turn it into a pet. Did you figure out did you have to look at a guide?
I did.
I almost did.
I did.
Oh,
I did. I played with it for a long time, and then I lost patience, and then I looked at a guide.
I banged my head against it long enough where I was able to do it without a guide. But it did take me a little bit extra. I almost, and this is something we talked about too, because we're like doing it for the podcast and we waited to the last minute, we're procrastinating, and I do this too much with games now, and I've got to break myself with a habit where I'm like, I just need to get through this because I want to have experience with the podcast, blah, blah, blah. And I forget to actually play the game.
And I think that was when I was doing this too, because I had it in my mind, I got to finish this. I don't have time to do it tomorrow. And I didn't sit down and just like enjoy doing the puzzle.
Right. So I played it long enough and I fiddled around until I was able to do it without having to look it up. Because I was very close to just switching over, because we've got great content creators in the game that create the guides for us. But I was like opening and closing the gates, and I figured out I've got these other abilities. So I just started shocking every NPC, which is one of the things you had to do. So I shocked every NPC. Because you play a little mouse droid, and the mouse droid has to drive around, and it's only got like 3 abilities, or 2 abilities. It's got a beep and a shock. And then there's a console, and there's these little tunnels. So I opened cell doors, closed cell doors, just started shocking everything. And then I realized if I shock this one droid, it shoots its little shooter thing.
Yeah.
And then
That's
it shot the boxes, and I was able to get to the vent that was the main blocker. That was fun. So that's that.
That's okay. I can play this again in the near future, and I will have forgotten the solution. So
True. True.
can- I
Yeah,
can-
you'll be able to fiddle around and
Yeah.
figure it out and do it again. What else has been on your menu for the week, Sema? Anything else you've been playing?
yeah, well, I did play a little more Dorf Romantic.
Mm-hmm.
Been matching trees and rivers and trains. It does get a little. It does get a little frustrating when you want a train tile, for instance, and you don't get one.
Yes. Yeah, and that's part of.
Yeah, that's part of.
that.
You're
Yeah,
supposed
the
to plan for that.
part of the puzzle, and
Yeah.
it does drive you to then the urgency of, oh, I hope I get one. I hope I get one. I only have 10 tiles left. I only have 5 tiles left. That turns it from that relaxing little, fun little side game into the stressful competitive adventure
Right.
that I got myself into.
Right, I'm way more of a tendency to say, "Oh, good, I only have 1 tile left. This one's over soon."
Which is probably a fine way to play it.
Yeah.
And probably I should switch over or go into creative mode, because in creative mode you get unlimited tiles and you could just start making, you make a little world.
So
which is
on like a
probably a really
like a
fun way to play it.
similar thing, I've never been a person who does Sudoku, and so I ran out of little word games to do because I completed all the archive of the New York Times mini crossword
Ah,
and another game I
done.
played, Waffle.
That's an achievement.
Completed all the archive of Waffle, and so I was talking to one of my sisters, and I thought, well, maybe I should just learn to do Sudokus because there's a bunch of Sudokus also.
Yeah, an
in
infinite
the
number actually.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
practically.
I did not enjoy that because it's another kind of whack-a-mole kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can see where you'd get better at it and it would be more fun, but it's just sort of like, nope, nope, nope. Okay, this one's good. Okay, next one. That one's good. And then you get to like the end of a row and you're like, nope, and I gotta go back and change the first one. Which is kind of how it isn't how Dorf Romantic is because you can't go back and change the first one, but it's sort of like you have to keep in mind.
Yeah.
When you put things down.
Yes.
It's kind of a similar sort of thought process.
Yeah. And you can you develop your own strategies and try them out. Like,
yeah,
I started to get into that. It becomes strategic when you decide you want to go that route. Or
I did get
Just
like
place down
boats and
houses,
trains.
okay.
I got as far as I got my own little boats and trains and stuff, so that was good. And I got a new biome.
like sometimes it puts up the little flag that says, now if you close off this area, if you like encapsulate
Yeah.
this little forest that you build, you'll get like a little extra points.
Yeah.
However, there's just, I think you can develop strategies. Like maybe that's a bad idea because the further you get in the game, the quests that you get,
You might wish you hadn't closed it off.
right, they're bigger and bigger counts. So if you close off each one of your forests and then you get a forest count that's like, now you need 1,000 trees. Well, in the even if you've got 30 tiles left, you're not going to get 1,000 trees and 30 tiles. So you're screwed because you're never going to complete that quest. So I started doing these things where I was like I was branching out and creating connections back to like the housing development and the trees and the rocks and stuff like it. Whatever. Plenty of strategies that you can try, but sometimes then you get yourself too spread out and too disconnected, and that gets you into trouble too. So anyway, great game. That's a good one. Any WoW stuff you've been going on this week?
Yeah. Let's see. We were going to. Well, we went into the beginning part of Old War because we do have this plan of doing some prog on Yogg, which is the boss that we kind of stalled out. We didn't stall out, but we didn't finish Old War before ICC came out, and we started doing ICC. So like our raid leader, the name for that night of Yogg-Prog was like, you know, the log prog slog my dog. Shrimp
Yes.
is in the chat room, and he'll correct me. That wasn't exactly right, but it was beautifully primed like that. We did, because of real life though, we did not get in there last week.
The slog of Prague of Yogg, my dog.
Yes. Yes.
Sweet.
And the
Well done.
slog part is because Ulduar is a very big instance, and there's a bunch of bosses to kill before you get to Yogg. So
cool instance, cool bosses, but yeah, a lot.
it's cool, and they're cool, but we've done it a million
And
times.
some are very cold, even. Yeah.
Yes, one in particular. So it was actually fun to go in there, and I went on my druid, which is my new character, right? That I leveled for Cataclysm. So I was like trying to figure out my buttons and stuff like that, and because of that, Shrimp died a few times. He never
Oopsie.
He never complains about that though. He complains about other things, but not that. No.
Res plus.
Yes. Bach said the Myrmidon head mount is great.
Yes.
Bach actually recently got Invincible, which is the rare drop mount from the Lich King. So yeah, that's awesome.
That's something that it's one of those kind of things that made me rage quit WoW back in the day. one of a handful of things that made me rage quit multiple times.
Speaking of mounts in WoW, though, there's an event going on in WoW retail right now.
Yes.
That if you log into Hearthstone, there's a mount that you get in WoW, and then there's like another mount you can get in WoW, but you have to do some events in retail WoW or do some stuff. I haven't read up on that stuff. I just know the first one.
Yeah. I didn't do the WoW part of it, but I did quite a bit, and I'll get to it. I played Hearthstone. I even played Hearthstone because I wasn't sure if just logging in was enough, so I played a game, and then I played 2 games, and then I rage quit and uninstalled. So I'll tell that story in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Hearthstone would be the kind of game that I would like, and then I started playing it, and it was definitely not for me because.
Well, yeah, you got to go to Hearthstone school these days before you'll be able to play it, which is part of the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it is a little bit more of that whack-a-mole thing where you like, okay, I learned that I better not play this card too early because I'm going to need it later. And then you play the next game and it's sort of like, oh, no, I needed this other card. I needed to pull back this other card. I appreciate strategy games, and that's what it is. And I wasn't there for that.
Right. Yeah. And it's not low effort to get into it because there's a whole deck of cards, and each of your opponent might have different decks of cards, and you have to know what all of the cards are because you can't sit there for 10 minutes every turn reading every card and trying to figure out what you might do.
So I did play Hearthstone. The main reason I played Hearthstone back in the day was when I did do it was to get a mount in the game. And I think I had to get to a certain level or win a certain number of games.
My favorite mount in the game is the old Hearthstone mount.
Yes, it's a good one. I really like it. This one, though,
glowing horse with wings, yeah.
Yeah, apparently all you have to do is log into Hearthstone, so I think I can accomplish that.
And this one is a red version of that.
So okay.
The old one was a blue glowing Hearthstone pony, whatever. This was a red version of it, so yeah, I definitely wanted to get it because it's still to this day my favorite
one of my favorite mounts in the game is the one that you and Ralph helped me get in Heroes of the Storm. And that is a really cool, it's like a fiery cat mount.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I must have it though because I played Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, you must. Yeah, right, because basically you guys were like having to drag me through, and I'm like, I don't understand. How come I died? I was that person.
Yeah.
In Heroes of the Storm. Yeah.
Another game that's deceivingly complex, but yeah.
Yeah. Thank God for you guys, and that because I've really
enjoyed. Go to school to play.
Yeah, but I think about that every time I use that mount.
Yeah, that's a good one. So yeah, cool.
And then also this weekend we're having the next installment of our dungeon race thing. So
right.
So that's going to come this week.
Excellent.
I'm unclear if we're going to have Wheel of Death for that or not. I guess I will have to report that.
Break a deal, spin the wheel.
Yeah,
we don't need another hero.
And I haven't like I keep thinking I should log in that character and level up my bows and guns because I don't know if I'm going to have a bow or a gun.
Oh.
But then I remember Brig, who's our other tank, telling me, "Yeah, I just got in range of the max." And I'm like, "All right, I'm already in range of." It's not like I'll be like
Yeah.
skilling up from 1, which did
Right.
happen
Right.
on the last one. Not me, but someone else. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So yes, now I'm done with WoW and Star Wars: The Old Republic and Dorf Romantic.
Cool. Yeah. So the one thing that I haven't done is actually logged into WoW for that Hearthstone event, which is there's like a couple world boss kind of events that spawn on the hour, and it rotates between 3 different locations for each faction. You'll want to go and do those if you want to get the reward drop. There's another mount, the second mount, and it's like the hexagon tile that's like the center of the Hearthstone logo. It's like a disc that you then ride around on that flies.
I mean,
that you can
disc
get.
mounts were always cool.
Yeah. So it is kind of cool. I don't know if I'm going to bother to do it though. What we didn't get is an event that is still coming, and it's 10.6 something or .6 something, which is on the WoW roadmap as a black flag with skull and bones. So people are expecting that that's some sort of pirate related event or something. People are expected to already have come out by now. It has not. Nobody's sure of when that's coming out. This Hearthstone event was on the roadmap as well. This Hearthstone event was on the roadmap slightly before that event, but it should be any day now or any week now for that next WoW event. And I was thinking, again, looking for opportune times to check back in, that might be one of the times I check back into WoW this spring and summer. The second time being pre-patch. There's the disc. It's not a hexagon. It's a circle. But the second time might be pre-patch coming later in the year before World Soul. And then the first episode of the World Soul Saga expansions will be coming late in the year, and I definitely will be playing that for a while.
Maybe I will log in over there and do a few events. We'll see.
Yeah.
Real life is kicking my butt right now, so gaming has been like a little bit less.
Yeah. Well, I've been playing a lot. I've had plenty of time to play. I would say World. I've been ignoring Real World.
Yeah.
Because, and this is something we'll probably wait to talk about maybe till next week. If we do one next week before I go out to PAX, or maybe when I get back, I played quite a bit of Lego Fortnite. So I did get into it. It's a survival game, just survival crafting building game, just like any other survival crafting building game, except you're doing it with Legos, but there's a little bit of exploration. It's mostly single player. I don't even know if you can play multiplayer. Can you play multiplayer? I don't know, but it's well formed. It's polished.
It's adorable.
I still feel like it's a little bit early access-ish because there are some things that I think they could make work a little easier. I also think that they have a little bit more work to do to develop sort of like the point, the purpose, the end game of what you're sort of working towards, rather than it just being, well, you just get the next thing. You do need to, I'll save it for my full assessment and how you need to get into it and what you need to play, because it is a Fortnite product, and there are some aspects that tie then into the Fortnite ecosystem, which make it both good and bad ways, and not very bad at all, but there are minor drawbacks and then some good parts because the Fortnite ecosystem itself is very developed.
Right.
So I'll continue to play it some, and we'll talk about it more of kind of how it works.
I love how they run. It's just adorable.
Yeah, very Lego, and all like Lego products tend to be like Lego digital products tend to be good.
Yeah.
They've rarely had a miss, and they're made by different teams and different groups, but like the Lego Star Wars and Lego Batman. And this one is another one kind of in that genre that they're just well done. So the collaboration with Lego must be going really well. And they must do a good job in
They're good at
ensuring the
management.
quality and
Yeah.
maybe sharing assets and all of that kind of thing that makes it good. Yeah, I did mention, I mentioned all the Hearthstone stuff. So in addition to the WoW part of it, there's the Hearthstone anniversary event, which is going on, which is you can actually go and play Hearthstone because it's Hearthstone anniversary event. The Hearthstone part of it, there's little things going on in Hearthstone as well. I jumped in to just do the login because I just cared about the WoW mount, but then said, well, to be sure, I'll also play a match, and I ended up playing 2 because I wanted to unlock. Tried to see about unlocking this thing, and I kind of got it. It said it was matching you with your level. I was confused if I was even playing against an actual live person or not. I guess I was, or I mean, it could have been an imaginary person. It could have been AI, and I wasn't. But I got murdered both times. It was kind of like even. I was, I'd be down a couple points throughout the round. Like
Right.
they'd do 4 damage, I'd do 2 damage. They'd do another 2 damage, I'd do 1 damage. So, but then it would maybe it would even out a little bit. But then by about round 10, I would play a big ability and catch up a little bit. And then they would play some massive ability that would just murder me.
Right. You're right. Then you realize, oh, they set up a pretty elaborate combo right there. I'm
Yeah.
now out.
Yeah. Like Jaina shot me in the face with a 20-point fireball.
Right.
I'm like, oh, well, that's a thing. Apparently. I don't know how I would defend against that. I guess I need to be done before she can set up whatever that is. And then the other one was, you only have 30 points and you've got this 1/1 creature and a 2/2 creature. And I got 5 creatures out there, like a big turn, and I dumped 5 creatures on the board. Well, then they dumped 7, 9, 14 creatures all at once. And so by the second turn after that, because then wiped all of my creatures off the board, and then I was dead. So whatever, whatever that was, good job. And I'm done, and I uninstalled. I didn't, because I knew I probably wasn't going to get into it, because it is one of those games that is good. It's still a good game, and I could feel how it's still a good card game, but I would have needed to go to send myself to Hearthstone school. Read up on what all the current cards are, what all of the abilities are, how some of the combos work, what I might be facing, what all of their abilities are. Because you don't have time in the middle of the match because there's a little countdown timer to be reading or figuring things out. So I was just at a couple points, just doing things. Fine, I'll just attack with this thing and kill a couple characters. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be doing it or not. So I would have had to go to Hearthstone school, and I wasn't ready to go to Hearthstone school, so I uninstalled. Maybe I will at some point though, because it is a good game. And then the final thing, I'm still doing a little bit of Ark. And we're getting to the point in Ark, it's just a handful of us that are still playing on the island map that we've got. There is another map that they will be coming out with, and now it sounds like relatively soon, maybe within the next month. It's an old map of theirs that they're remastering, and it's called Scorched Earth. They were going to try to do another one called The Center, but they've got a third party helping them out, and that's delayed. So it sounds like Scorched Earth is going to come next. But now we got to figure out what we're going to do about that. Are we going to start from scratch when Scorched Earth comes out onto this brand new map? Or there's a way to bring some of your progress along. And we're starting to have that debate. And we're leaning towards, which is kind of the way I like to play survival games. We're leaning towards a fresh start. And I like that. I like the starting naked on the beach, kind of pick up some rocks and pick up some sticks. It's a fun point in any survival game for good reason. So we may do that, but we may leave ourselves the option to, as we progress and as we sort of get past that early stage of the game, to bring some of our more advanced stuff over from the other map at that point, so that we don't have to like do weeks and weeks of grind to then do that, get to the end bosses. So we'll see.
Right. There's the early grind, which can be very gratifying. Then there's the mid grind, which can make you wish you hadn't started over.
Yeah. So we'll see, but it's a fun conversation to have, and it's a fun thing to think about. So we will be thinking more about it, and we'll keep you updated on what we end up doing and what our story is in ARC.
I have kind of an ARC story, which I just gave away the punchline by saying that, but I exited. I've been having this problem with Star Wars: The Old Republic recently, where when I exit the game or I quit the game, it takes a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes to actually work.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped clicking on the little X, and I'm very careful to always like click on the actual quit function. And then so lately, the last couple of days has been going, very smoothly. But my fan went wild. I was gone. SWTOR: The Old Republic was gone, but my fan just went wild inside my computer. And I brought up the task manager. I'm like, what is he working on over there? And Steam had like 85, 90% of my CPU.
Mm.
And I'm like, what's going on with Steam? I'm not doing anything. And I finally looked, and it was updating ARC.
Yes. Yeah. ARC's got a bunch of updates going on right now, and they seem slightly disorganized.
It took me a while to figure that out, so that by the time I did figure it out, it wasn't worth pausing out of it because it was almost done. But it was a lot.
Well, in addition to them like putting out a patch and then the patch, this actually happened this week. The patch is broken, so we're gonna have to put out another patch. And now and then the private servers, which we're playing on, get patched a little bit after, and it's confusing, and sometimes you can't log in because Steam forces the client patch on you, and our server patch isn't even out yet. But the other thing that they do is, although the download might only be like 1 gig, all 79 gigs of the game, for whatever reason, seem to get patched with that 1 gig patch. Like it ticks through all of it, and that's what's eating up your CPU. So we'll they're working on it. They're working on it, but they better get their act in gear, because while this is good and fun and is a remaster, they have a lot of great survival games that are chomping at their heels. The advantage that they have is the many years of content that they now have available.
Right.
But they're gonna get their lunch eaten.
Which gives it a depth. And another advantage is just, dinosaurs is greater than any other type of Yeah,
I really like the dinosaurs, and taming the dinosaurs, so that's cool. And there are maps, more advanced maps, that are going to come later that have robot dinosaurs. So there's that. Okay, well, I think that is it for today. Plenty of stuff going on. Good job, Star Wars: The Old Republic team, with that update. We'll be looking for more in 7.5, which will be fun. And not sure what's going on next week. If we do the podcast next week, it may be on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. So keep an eye out for that as well.
That is because of Max traveling.
Yes, I will be at PAX. You will probably be getting live updates from me at PAX, so you can keep track in the Discord, on the social networks, and I'll let you know some cool things that we see there. Otherwise, all the feed and subscribe links for everything, as usual, are on newoverlords.com, and our videos on YouTube/newoverlords. Please, as we said, come chat with us in our Discord any time of the day or night. We're talking games. newoverlords.com/Discord is the link to get into that. And you can also follow on all the social networks, and we'll keep you up to date there too on when we're going live and when the podcast gets published. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.